Hello, everyone from Round the Hay Bale. I'm Ann with Andale Homestead.
And I'm Monica with Bland's Promised Land Ranch.
Hello, everyone, and good morning, good afternoon. It is Cayce over at Ormsby Farms. We are so glad that you are here. We are talking seed saving, a very hot topic right now that our gardens are about to go night-night for the winter.
Right.
But Miss Ann, would you say hello to folks? I'm going to pull us down, and I'm going to start popping up comments for you to say hello.
Absolutely love to say hello to everyone. Hey, Ginger from Not for Nothing Homestead, your sweet thing. Lazy days ahead with Jesse and Lisa. Morning, everybody. Hey, Nancy from our treasured home. I'm so glad you're here, Nancy. We're thinking about you. Hey, Troy Sutton, how are you? He says, hey, y'all, hey. Janice, thank you for being here. Hello, good morning. Hey, Cynthia Delott, all the way from the Netherlands. We're so tickled to have you here today. So, thank you all, everyone, for being in here. We really, certainly appreciate your time of all the places in all the world that you could be. And you came spend a little time with us. That's awesome.
Yes, it is. Oh, good. There we go. We got another one. Good morning. Good morning, John and Sarah. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah. Hi, John and Sarah, Two Doves, Bees, and Gardens.
Oh, and we got Dorothy in here too.
Woohoo!
We got them all popping in right now. We got popper-inners. Hello to everyone. So today we're talking about seed saving. Our most recent podcast that came out was seed saving. And let me just tell you, I've actually had to re-listen to it because most people know we still have Sandy on the podcast. We've pre-recorded. I had to take a lot of notes because she gave so much amazing information on this episode.
She does, yeah.
And I did a thing. I saved lemon seeds.
Woohoo!
They are in a packet now, and I think I'm gonna be growing me some lemon trees.
That's awesome. You know, I was always told for a long time that if you just save your lemon seeds or orange seeds or something like that, that your grandchildren's grandchildren might get a lemon or a orange. But after talking with Sandy and doing some more research, she's absolutely correct. You can have a lemon tree, an orange tree, and get your own fruit from your grocery store items, which is
about 3 years, right, Miss Ann? About 3 years. 3 years for lemons.
And it's like that for a lot of trees.
Yeah.
So it's so exciting. I mean, out of y'all, do we all save seeds? Are we all seed savers? I'm a newer seed saver, but are y'all seed savers?
I do save seeds, especially because this year especially. Now there were some new tricks and some new things that I learned this year, but being involved with the Vineyard Chicks and Survival Seeds 2024, the whole thing was to learn to save seeds because we have all run into troubles, not greatly, but there have been in the past seeds that you want to get that are no longer available, or they're changing the genetics of seeds some, and which scares us all to pieces. So I have learned quite a bit, and I've saved. Lord, I got seeds all over my house and probably in my shoes and in my drawers. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, I do save seeds. How about you, Monica?
Yeah, I think, well, on the podcast, I think I admitted that I have optimistic hopes. I have hopes to save seeds and then I don't actually do anything with it. But no, I started saving some seeds a couple years ago. I think that really that's one of the most fun parts about the end of season, as you can go find all the ones that have bolted and kind of save those seeds and try to do different things. I've learned a lot from that podcast, really, truly, because there are some things I didn't know. And the paper bag trick was probably my favorite. Just the idea that if you're going to dry your stuff, just put them in a paper bag. It's going to be breathable, but it's going to keep the dust off, because I have held up different herbs and different things trying to save seeds or whatever, trying to dry, and putting things in a paper bag to keep them is a good thing too. So, I mean, yeah, I have saved seeds. I'm not the best at it. Where I save them and then I never use them because I feel like they're not going to work. So then I get all nervous and get in my head and I'm like, I'm not going to take the time to plant all these seeds that I saved and they may not even work.
That's right.
So I feel like I'm sorry, that's where I get in my head. So
Jesse from Lazy Days Ahead has popped in all of our chats that seed saving Bible.
That's cool.
It's
It's
something where it does let us know how to harvest and how to store and how to actually gather our seeds. So
That's a great book.
it's really good. And all of us have Amazon stores, so you could maybe check that out through there. And so Cayce, how about your seeds? Have you ever planted any of the seeds that you've saved?
I actually have. Now, I
Oh,
will
yeah.
transparency. Yeah, I have not mastered saving mater seeds yet.
Yeah.
That is the one seed, because it's a little bit more tricky than, let's say, a zucchini or a squash or a pumpkin seed. Okay.
Right. Hey,
So
Jessica.
zucchini and squash, yes, I saved mine, and cucumbers. I saved mine because I always feel bad when I go out there and there's that giant yellow cucumber that you
Oh,
totally
yeah.
sit too long. But Sandy made me feel better because she was like, "Listen, it's okay. That's the best one for you to save the seeds on." So I'm like, "See, it was totally planned.
That's right.
Go farming was totally planned."
Yeah.
Um,
So
so yeah,
Monica, I'm sorry.
no, no,
Go
no,
ahead. Now, Monica, do you remember what Sandy was telling us about the jar of water when you put your seeds in?
and Monica's response to it.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
I think it's just so you put it in the water because it helps take all the little like scummy stuff off, right? So it
Yes.
ferments and then it floats, and then the ones that float are the not good ones,
Right.
and the
Ones.
ones that sink are the ones that are good.
That are
It's like
fertile.
it's like eggs, right? So
Yeah.
if they float, you want to get rid of them, and if they sink, that means they're keepers.
And
Yeah.
who knew that? I didn't know that. Oh my gracious. So there's a lot of things you can learn on our podcast that come out every Monday at
Mhm.
12 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern
9 o'clock Central.
Central. 9 o'clock Central. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I just turn it on about noontime if I remember. I'm like, it's lunchtime. It's podcast time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once it's out there, I walk past and go, Alexa, play around the Hay Bale podcast. It seems to turn it on. So that's good.
Now, did all of us do it? Because I know I joined in on the Survival Seeds 2024 this year. Monica,
Yes.
did you?
No, I didn't. I'm glad I didn't because this season was insane for me and I didn't do any garden. Like I literally have zero garden. And when I say zero, I mean like the most I have is a comfrey plant outside of my kitchen door and some stevia plants that are there. And I did go at the last minute to one of these box stores and get a hot pepper plant, a tomato plant, and a jalapeno plant. And I let it sit there in my like little side garden, and it has produced nothing. It has produced zero, absolutely nothing. And so I have nothing. As a matter of fact, my niece grew some green beans the other day and she was so excited. She was showing me her green beans. I was literally jealous of an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
I was like, she's like, got this green bean. She's like, look how cute it is, Aunt Monica. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Just
But you have
eat your green beans.
you have bartered, you've gotten some fresh vegetables from your neighbors and your friends and things like that. I've heard you say that.
Yeah, no, I did. I got some, I stole some peppers from Cayce when I went to visit him over the summer. He was like hoarding his peppers. He was like, these are so good. I'm like, Cayce, PS, can I have one of these giant peppers you have in your garden? But like my neighbors don't grow things here. I'm going to be like Cayce from Boots and Bounty. Like my neighbors literally don't grow things here. So there's like no bartering from my friends here. There's like not a lot of that. So I was very slim this year for that, but that's okay. Because this was the year that I gave my ground some rest.
Yeah.
And I did other things. And so it was fine. But no, I didn't take part in that. But honestly, the seed saving thing is such a huge thing. I have 100 acres. I don't have that many acres, thanks. But I have no garden this year. Like my garden was just nothing. As a matter of fact, my friend came over last week and she was like, hey, you see that greenhouse that you haven't used in a bajillion days? How about you let me have it? And I was like, settle down. I'm going to use my greenhouse. I'm going to be back doing stuff again soon. But
but you have to share that your year has been so full.
It's been a full year.
Life has been lifing.
It's been a full year. But you know, I have saved seeds from store-bought vegetables. And I thought that was really interesting because that's something that I didn't know that would happen. And I tried it a few years ago. I got those, there's organic peppers you get from Costco. Y'all know them. If you ever go into Costco or them big stores, you can get those organic, like colored peppers, the red ones, the yellow ones, orange ones.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten a bunch of them and we were using them, all the time. And I'm like, why can't I just take these seeds and save them? And so I started saving the seeds from those. And I had these like big packets of seeds that I had collected from all those peppers. And I planted those, and they were probably one of the few things that I've ever planted from seed saving. And I was so impressed with myself. I was like, and I even marked them when I put them in the ground. I marked them in my my notebook thing. Hold on. My notebook thing. I saved them and I wrote them in there and wrote Costco seeds. So that way I would know that they were the Costco ones, and it was perfect. I was so happy.
It's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And Cayce, you have done that as far as saving your squash or your zucchini seeds or your pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin struggled a little bit, but cucumber seeds. And to plant the seeds that you saved from your own garden and to replant them and have them grow, it's just a really cool feeling.
We talked about that on one of ours, on like how great God is. He created a tomato plant. Okay, so you get one seed, creates this tomato plant, right?
Yeah.
Which gets you about 7 pounds of tomatoes. Okay. Save the seeds, and there's like a cajillion seeds.
Right.
In a tomato plant.
One tomato.
Cajillion more tomato plants. Not only that, but if you cut off the sucker plant, like prune off the sucker plant of a tomato seed and put it in a little water, it grows roots, and that will get you another tomato plant.
That's right.
So rewarding to be able to walk in your garden and be like, hey, last year I knew your mommy and daddy because I grew them. And now I saved the seeds, and
that's right.
I'm saving yours. So yes, it is a great feeling. But it is also wonderful when you trade seeds with friends. And I've joined in, I know you have too, and wonderful seed swaps, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is. And the Survival Seeds 2024 this year was wonderful. It was so much fun. I haven't planted all the seeds though. I'm going to be transparent. I did the Marianas. Is that how you say it?
Marianas? Mm-hmm.
They were wonderful. Very tasty. Yeah.
They were. Now, I didn't find them as tasty as like slicing tomatoes. They weren't really, they were great in salads and things like that. But for a big old hunkin' slice of tomato with salt and pepper on it, that wasn't my first go-to tomato.
Right.
However, those tomatoes were the best I've ever used to make ketchup and to make tomato soup and things that needed to be thicker. I didn't realize the difference in consistency of tomatoes, which is really dumb that I didn't know, but Mariana, not marijuana. That's right. Yes, Jesse, that's right. And hey, Blue, we're so glad to hello. We're so glad to see you. So, Monica, have you had an opportunity to see the difference in maybe something like the different types of tomatoes? Which ones that you particularly like better that would encourage us to save the seeds, or how you may have saved seeds from, the actual process. Okay, my brain is squirreling a little bit, but the actual process of those peppers that you got from Costco. Did you put them on a paper towel, on a paper plate? What did you do to save them?
Okay, so after I had washed everything and we were cutting them up for dinner, I actually saved all the seeds on a plate. I just made a thin layer on a plate. I let all of them dry out. I don't know which ones were fertile and which ones weren't. I just knew they were from peppers that were growing little mini peppers inside. So I was like, oh, these things got to be, they want to be planted. They want to regrow anyway. So let's go put them in the ground. So I just kept a bunch of them. Every single one. So I didn't know which ones were from the yellow, which ones from the red, which ones were from the orange. I had no clue. I just knew they were colorful peppers. I wrote on the package, colorful peppers from Costco, organic, whatever. And so good. It was awesome. I just threw them on a plate. I kind of dried them with a paper towel. I put them on a paper plate and let them dry out. And I kind of mushed them around with my hands after a day or so. But I did cover them with another paper plate just so that air, like stuff didn't get onto them, like dust, because
Right.
my house is dusty.
I
And so
do
I did
paper
kind of,
plates.
yeah, I just kind of covered a paper plate on top so air could still get in. And they dried out really quick. And so,
That's good.
yeah, and I just kept them in a little paper, like, envelope thing that they have, little seed envelopes. I put
Right.
a bunch of them in the seed envelopes and marked them, and they were good to go. And they produced fairly well for me. I was very happy. I did overseed, like, I wasn't just putting like one or two. I was like, well, I don't know which ones are fertile or not. So I would like
Mhm.
plant like a handful. I mean, I had a lot. So I was like very liberal with my
Okay.
planting.
You were the fairy again.
I was just like, blah,
A little
blah. And
seed
yeah,
here, a little seed there.
yeah, but it worked. And man, I was really happy with them. And they produced just as, I mean, they produced just as well as any of my other pepper plants did that year. So it made me really happy to see that they came up very similar to the stuff that I bought at Pepper Joe's or MI Gardener or whatever. So I feel like I did pretty good that year.
Great. I saw that Not For Nothing said she saves a couple of her plants every year, replants, and they grow back, and how fun that is. So, Cayce, when you did find your yellow cucumber, that we all find them. I mean, those bad boys hide from you in the garden, and so we all find those yellow cucumbers. How did you save your seeds? Because they are kind of fleshy.
Oh
You
yeah. I did it the way that, Sandy had told us with the water. And again, because I remembered her saying the water and my mind being blown, but I also remember Monica's response to that. And that's now how I remember that going forward. So I just chunked a little bit of it out with a spoon,
Uh-huh.
dumped the water. Um,
In a jar? Did you put it in a jar?
I did, a quart jar. And
Okay.
I scooped out kind of the middle part. Because, if you cut a cucumber in half, uh, you can get all of the little seeds right there in the middle. So if you scoop
Yeah.
that part out, and then I threw the rest to the chickens and let
There you
them field day, and they had a WWE SmackDown uh,
go.
over trying to get that cucumber.
There
And
you go.
some floated, and then some sank to the bottom. And then I used a little sieve that you can use for sifting powdered sugar or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
poured it through there to get the good ones out, and dried it, like Monica said, on a plate. And then put them in a sieve.
Okay. How long did you soak those seeds? Do you remember?
24 hours.
Really? Okay. Because I've sort of, I mean, and we want you to go and listen to the podcast that came
Yeah.
out on Monday. Of course we do. So we don't want to share all of the secrets, but I had a little jar of tomato seeds that I actually left in there for like a week. And I
What?
would walk by and shake them and sometimes change the water,
Yeah.
spoon out
Mhm.
the seeds on the top and change the water. Did you change? Does anybody else change their water? Was I supposed to change my water? I don't know.
Well,
I don't
I think it's part of the process of it kind of like fermenting in there and kind of that separation of that like mucus
right.
around the seed itself. So, I mean, shaking it, like I did more than 24 hours for my tomato seeds when I did it before. I put them in a little shallow container, one of them little Ziploc ones that are kind of shallow. It was like a sandwich container.
Uh-huh.
And I laid them in there and I just put the water in there and I kind of just shook it around a little bit and then I could see them. Now, I didn't know at the time when I did it years ago that if they were floating, they were no good. And if they so I just kept everything. I was like, "Yeah, it looks good to me." And then I kept everything. So, but I had no clue. And so I had just looked at other videos and the videos that I saw didn't say anything about the floating and the sinking. And
Right.
so that was new to me. So yeah, I mean, I kind of know that now. And did I make a comment about a dead body? Is that what it was, Cayce?
No, you said that's why you have 10 kids. Everyone needs to go and listen. You said that the heavier ones were more fertile. And my phone
The heavier ones were more fertile. That's okay. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll just skip right over that part.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, it stuck in my head, so now I remember. So
That's
that's
hilarious.
thanks, Monica, for her humor.
Well, there you
So
go.
I am able to remember that for eggs, for seeds, all of them, the heavier ones that sink are the ones that are good.
They're the quality. The quality are the heavier ones. No, I always tell my kids if an egg floats, that means it's like a dead body. You just want to don't get it, just get rid of it. You don't want it.
Right.
If it's floating,
Yeah.
Get rid of the floaters. We don't like any floaters.
No
No
floaters.
floaters. No floaters. That's
Now,
right.
have y'all
Yeah.
ever saved, because we've talked about vegetable seeds. Have y'all saved seeds for fruit before? Have you ever have we done any since the podcast?
I have. In fact, I have a lemon tree that my aunt planted her own lemon seeds in my back porch in a pot right
Wow.
now, which is really it's about this tall. And so we'll see. I mean, you never know. You never know. I'm excited about that part. And as far as you, how about you, Cayce? You said you had some lemon seeds and
I did some lemon seeds, but I also was crazy and saved some of the date seeds. I got some dates from, I think it was Aldi's, can't remember.
it's
Uh,
awesome.
and I take the dates out because you put a little bit of like blue cheese in there, and then you can wrap them with bacon. They're
Yeah.
the most delicious appetizers. I'm like, why not? I'm gonna save them, and if it works, I mean, because they weren't organic. That's the thing. But I remember Sandy telling us on the episode, look at us giving away all this information. But Sandy said that with the fruit, it really doesn't matter for the organic. And so got a cheap lemon and I was, dehydrating them. And I was like, I'm going to save these seeds. So we'll see if the dates and the lemons do anything.
Mhm.
But I mean,
Yeah, bacon and
that's
cheese
the
is
only, yeah, bacon and cheese is so delicious. We'll
yeah.
see if it works. I mean, I'd like to learn how to do lettuce seeds because that's the one thing.
Oh my gosh, that's so
That's
easy.
easy.
Really? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
any of your greens, and that's like one of the things I have done too. Like
I've
because
done
my
that
lettuce
too.
bolts all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that bolted. Okay, I'm not gonna eat it. So I let it bolt, let it go to flour. And those little flowers are like little puffy things, and you just grab them and shake them into a bag.
Oh,
And
see,
then you can shake it down. I put them in a plastic bag and then I kind of shake it all off. But collards, I've done collard greens, I've done a lettuce, I've done any of the greens. They just go in these little fine little real pretty little flowers and seeds and
Mhm.
they puff up and
I guess I've never let them go to flowers. That's what I probably need to do.
Yeah, and see, that's what I didn't know either. When I first started gardening, I had no idea that even onions, when they're flowering and the flower dries out, that kind of thing. My grandfather grew orange from seed. It was one of my uncles that they wanted to try. That's awesome. Now, onions, when you have the onions that come up that flower, you let that dry. My lettuce was in a large, like a big Tupperware container, but it's a large tote. I was trying to think of the word tote. And so when the lettuce bolted because it got so warm, I just let those flowers grow. And then in that same area, because I knew the leaves were bitter, so we were able to feed the chickens the bitter leaves.
Right.
And I just bent the flowers over and shook them right in the soil where I was. And the lettuce came up the next season. It was awesome.
I did that with cilantro.
Okay.
Yes, I did it with a cilantro. I did a video because they said I watched a video that said just give the cilantro a little jiggle jiggle. And
Yeah.
so in my mind now, every time I said just give that cilantro a little jiggle jiggle, and it did.
Yeah.
It grew back within like a week. I had brand new cilantro plants coming up and able to have it from May until fall.
That's right. And Templin Acres says well, they're in Minnesota, so it was always an inside plant for the oranges. And Christy Betts says, I haven't saved lettuce seeds because rabbits ate my lettuce. Oh, Christy, I'm sorry. And Blue's particular type of onions, there are a variety of onions, a bunch of different types of onions. But she says they can take up to 2 years to go to seed. So, that's awesome. And the rabbits even brought their cousins over to Christy's garden. So it was a
That's
family reunion in her garden. That's how it is with our geese. They bring their cousins and their cousins' friends. So cilantro produces a ton of seed. I still have viable seed from 2020. Now, how long do you all think that seeds will um, save? How, is there an expiration date?
I've noticed 2 years. After 2 years, they start not bad, but the germination rate goes down, 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 down. And if I remember correctly, I think Sandy did say 2-3 years.
On some things, yes.
But they don't go bad. It's just the germination rate. You may have to plant 4 or 5 seeds instead of just 1 or 2 to get the plant. What about y'all? What do you think?
Yeah, I see her little eyes looking up. Or what are you looking up on your computer? Are you looking up how long seeds will last?
Yeah, I was looking at the 100. They have a couple different rules. One of them is the 100 rule. If the temperature plus humidity of a space equals less than 100, you have good storage conditions for your seeds. And of course, the lower the better. For example, their seeds, if they're stored at 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 30 degrees humidity, totally 70, then you're going to have a good environment to keep your seeds. So as long as you're keeping them in a good environment. So if your humidity and your temperature is less than 100 together, then you know it's going to be viability is going to be longer. And again, 2 to 3 years with 80%, 85% or higher. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just depending on your conditions. If you have a really high humidity space that's super high temperature, you know, for instance, I left some seeds out in my greenhouse. Left them out in the greenhouse, not realizing what I did. Now, I haven't tried to plant those seeds yet, but I had no clue what I was doing at the time. And I just left the seeds in the greenhouse. And I realized later that probably damaged a ton of my seeds. So I am fully prepared to not have as many viable seeds. If
fairy thing with them.
I'll just sprinkle them and see what happens. But if I have a year where it doesn't work that great, then it is what it is. Yeah, the cucurbit family is less time and spinach is less time at well. Yes, I guess it depends on your seeds. It depends on the quality of seeds you started with, as well as the conditions you're keeping them.
Well, and how do y'all save your seeds? Like, where do you keep them in? Do y'all have like a box, or where do you keep them? I guess is.
I was looking around. I've got my computer on my box that I keep my seeds in. It is a photo box kit.
Yeah,
it was a gift. It was given to me, and it's got all the little compartments in it and things that.
Okay.
And when I get seeds from my garden, honestly, they're just in a Ziploc bag. I haven't done that very well on the paper bags. But I did want to, if you could pull up Jesse's comment of from Lazy Days Ahead of the seeds that are 20 years old, and Blue's self-reliance comment as well. There was something I wanted to share with all of our audiences because we are on 4 different platforms. And so one platform might not be able to see the comments of the others. And so some seeds have been found and viable in 5,000-year-old graves, and they've grown them.
Wow.
I think kept well. You're all good. And Jesse and Lisa have saved their seeds, or they have seeds over 20 years old that still produce. So I don't think there's a limit.
Well, you know, there was a few years ago, my in-laws were hitting a hard time right after 2020. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law were dealing with some things, and financially, they just didn't have the means to buy seeds. So I had went to the local feed store, and they were clearing out their inventory because they needed to refresh because all the seeds were like 2, 3, and 4 years old in some cases. And I was like, I want everything. So I was literally buying seed packets for 10 cents a piece. And I was just grabbing them. And so I was buying a bunch of seed packets and I made a big pile and I sent them to her. Well, I told her, I said, I don't know if they're going to work. They're 3. Some of them are even 4 years old. Most of them are between 2 and 3 years old. I don't know how many's going to work. I don't know what's going to work for you, but I want you to take these and see what you can grow. Well, let me just tell you, she had such an amazing harvest that year. She grew things that I wasn't able to grow in Maryland. And I was so happy. It was like, God was like, here, send these to her. So it just so happened that even though those seeds were old, it worked out. And she just by faith planted these seeds knowing, okay, I'm going to have to do it because this is what God's provided. So I really think that, you know, seeds are going to work for you. And, you know, if you're given to them, if God gives them to you, then try to plant them and see what happens. But I keep mine in the storage bin too, Miss Ann. We keep ours. I keep mine in those little storage boxes, the photo storage bins. And then I keep them in the packages like that.
show it to you, but I've got my computer sitting on it.
I asked Jacob to bring mine into me, but he's not answering his phone. So he.
Adrian from Indiana Backyard Gardener says, well, Luke from MI Gardener, I'm sure that's who she's talking about because I watched his program as well.
Yes.
With 100-year-old tomato seed, which is just the coolest thing. So, and Two Doves, Bees, and Gardens. Hey, Christine, I'm from Mrs. Gillum Farms. We're tickled to have you here today.
Yeah.
So, Monica, what is it that Two Doves, Bees, and
He
Gardens?
said we went to a seed sorting event where there was a semi-truck load of seeds that were donated to a nonprofit. We each got a pound of seeds just for helping. A pound is a lot of seeds.
Right.
Because those seed packets do not weigh very much.
Oh.
The paper that the seeds are in probably weighs more than the seeds themselves. But yeah, and I think that's the best thing right there. We plant seed and God gives the increase. That's exactly right. So I'm not worried about the ones that were left in my greenhouse because I know that if they're meant to be, then they're meant to be, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right.
But you ideally don't want to put them in your 1,000-degree greenhouse if you live in Texas. Don't leave them in your greenhouse, guys.
Or Georgia.
Or Georgia.
900 degrees. I think Sam recommended putting it in a canning room because, your canning room, you want to keep the humidity down and you want to keep it kind of cool and dark.
Yeah.
Gosh. Kind of the best place to keep the seeds.
That is going to be a great place to keep
the old baseball card plastic.
Yep.
The baseball cards.
Card sleeves. Yeah. Card sleeves. Yep.
I saw it on Instagram. I thought it was the most precious thing I've ever seen. So, of course, I accidentally clicked on the Amazon and ordered. And that's what they are. They're in a big binder
there you go.
In my pantry, cool and dark.
That's so great. And, I didn't even think about it, y'all. I've got my computer sitting on top of my seeds, which is warming them up. That's probably not what? Darn.
That's okay. You're going to be good.
Yeah. I mean, I just needed, as we all do occasionally, I needed a little lift this morning.
But you're right, Christine. A seed wants to grow. And that's something that Sandy had said too. Seeds want to grow. The plants in our garden, they want to grow. We just need to be able to give them what it needs and help them. It's just like children. They want to grow. They want to consume all the things and you just need to provide it. So yeah, I mean,
that's
do
right.
the best you can with your gardens, right?
Oh, that's right. That's exactly right. So today, what we're trying to do is keep these lives about the same time as our podcasts. And we enjoy your comments and your inputs so much. It is just a pleasure to have you come in here. And thank you so much to our moderators. You guys are angels, I'm telling you, because we tried to do it ourselves. And it's just too hard. So thank you. And they donate their time. We certainly appreciate it. So come and see us again. Be sure to check out our podcast every Monday and, talk to Alexa about it and tell them to play Round the Hay Bale podcast. And thank you. And we'll talk to you soon. Check out Ormsby Farms and Bland's Promised Land Ranch. And don't forget, Round the Hay Bale. Okay. We love y'all. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Hey, Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Ooh, we're really fancy now.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m. Central Time.